Gambia is such a very interesting country, man. God. What did I do over here? I don't know. Okay, I'll continue, you know, quickly. First, let me start by saying we thank everybody who, in one way or another, you know, supported the cause of justice and made sure in one way or another, you know, in their own ways possible that, you know, nobody was here to defend anyone, but everybody was here to make sure that justice is done. And up till date, we do know that it's just halfway gone. And up till date, it's very valid to ask the question, who killed the cops? And it's important that every citizen of this country and its resident asks the question, who killed the cops? And up till date, this is the question that the regime must answer, and it has, you know, all the means to really provide the answers to the citizenry. Now, on, you know, yesterday, I actually know from intel yesterday, you know, that, of course, the eventual release and rearrest is what they were planning, and that's why I decided to say nothing, because, you know, what then would I say? Everything that I needed to say on this matter was already said, so I was just waiting for that to happen. And then and there, we know that it's a continuation, because we're not going to stop, and we will never stop, and because nobody can make us stop, because justice needs to be seen to be done, and it ought to be done, and it must be done, and nobody can stop it from being done. Yeah, you know, mbele denta nyimbanko la nyimbanko manke mankunda nkol tati nyimbanko manke masakunda dokula tati nyimbanko manke polisol tati. But what I want to say is the director of prisons was deliberately inside the complex and kept these people waiting for 4 hours. The only thing that he was doing in that 4 hours was to coordinate with the police to make sure that the paramilitary were ready, and then they had to come all the way to the prison gate. While they were at the prison gate, somebody was inside talking to the paramilitary who were outside. As they were opening the door for Hussein to come out, they were called to actually bring their vehicle close to the door. As soon as he got out, they actually rearrested him. I told you people, the security apparatus of the Gambia is run by the mastermind criminals. And yalong many police will fall, wala be police command kang, because walong bandiolti in the police system. When we say it, you think we actually talking out of nothing. The people who kill the cops are the people who are running the police force. So they are coordinating among all the system, you know, security apparatus to coordinate and to make sure that they do anything dubious and criminal as they desire. And you know, whatever that you people intend to do is very clear to people, and we know what's going on, and we are not going to relent on this matter, because at the end of the day, it's known. There is nothing hidden under the sun. So while the director of prisons and his staff were claiming that the director was out, the director was in the complex. You know, the person who came with the bail request was kept there for about 4 hours, because the police were coordinating with the presidential entourage that is on tour, including the Minister of Justice, to make sure that as soon as they release this person, they rearrest them just like they did to the UDP people during the Jammeh regime. But one thing for sure is this government cannot make some of us upset. You know why? Because we are 10 times ahead of you. And the people that you rely on, Atolla intelligence, the people that you depend on, are so weak with intelligence because they don't know what they are doing. So to tell you that every of your plan is already known since yesterday, while the final verdict was being read, the Minister of Justice was communicating to Banjul, and the people he was communicating to, and the eagerness to get the judgment from Justice Jaite was all to plan and mastermind the, you know, release and rearrest of this personnel so that they can be kept somewhere that they don't have anything to say. Because we know clearly, evidently, that the police, the military, And the security apparatus of this country, the National Security Council, knows who killed the cops. And because in every way possible they don't want these informations to come out, they will do anything and everything to this family, simply because to safeguard the integrity or probably the shame on the regime. I'll talk Enola. And that is why when you know that this judgment was coming, we deliberately took it to the international community and make sure that all international partners are aware. Now that your current actions are explicitly explaining how evil, deceitful, and manipulative you are, then that gives us, you know, the right that, of course, indeed something is fundamentally wrong in this case. So, you know, I'm not upset. I'm never going to be upset, because the whole point is that this is not a game of emotions. It's a game of the mind. And when you're dealing with people who think they're criminal, you got to be 10 times more criminal than them. And that is exactly phone, for God's sake. People watch you, they see what you're doing, but they still be calling your phone. I don't understand that. I'm using the same phone to have a conversation. Hello? But minkumada wala mnyintiko. The court did the right thing. I never wanted to say anything about it because the judge had the final say, and everything I needed to say, I said it. But of course, while the judge was reading the judgment, it was clear to me that the intention is not only just to arrest. You people have an intention to harm this young man because you know that it has a lot to do with your politics. The president's actually fear now is Hussein Obojan taking legal actions against his government at international court levels, which is going to happen. Undoubtedly, and nobody will stop that. Even if you kill this young man, know that he has families and he got relatives who will take up that case. Go, Nadia Dali. Go and assassinate them. And you will know that we will battle it out with you until doomsday. Because Lolo Kendulan Kofi Baye. Moro, atolo do kunyola, alta murunali wol faali, murun kotenkalko, wande dingol min mankukala, and then you want to continue that manipulation, lies, and deceit to actually inflict pain on a family that did you no wrong. And then this is what Gambian people want us to say, you know what, no, Bana, this government is democratic, the court systems are free. That is why I'm not one person who rushes to people. I mind my business and I hold my horse because I know who I'm dealing with. I watch my back. So I how you know man you bale omade. Kumuna buy hell lanak. And then, you know, it's not about what you say to me today. Because I know what I am doing and I'm not doing for nobody, because we know where the truth is and we are there to defend nothing but the truth. You know, nobody's here to defend Hussein. We are here to ask for what, you know, is required, and that is justice. Up till this moment, and you don't want anybody to say anything about it. We're going to say something about it. You have the time to arrest, to rearrest, and of course to criminally, you know, do whatever you want to do. We have 10 times more time to actually sit back and then, you know, refute and debunk every of your tactics. And then among those was, since yesterday or since day before, you've been coordinating because you already knew that, of course. Clearly, you say, oh, the state could arrest anybody and prosecute anybody. But Mama Jabi, with all her lies, we also have enough evidence and grounds to actually prosecute her and, of course, go take her to court and do whatever. And then the inhumane acts that you've done to these people, the torture you've done to Usaino, jailing Ami with men in the same cell, and, of course, denying her prayers and other things, you actually infringe on their fundamental rights. And, of course, to release and arrest them this afternoon is something that was pre-planned. And, of course, the Minister of Justice and people within that, you know, those structures know what exactly is happening. I will not get into your persona because I know too much about you. You are a criminal, you are a bandit, you are not a good man, you are a mafia. Genulen ñoo janga, genulen ñoo am xam-xam, genulen ñoo tukki aduna, genulen ñoo nekk ay bandit, genulen ñoo nekk ay samba boy. You people thought you could actually diminish and, of course, you know, kill the United Democratic Party. You criminally went on to actually kill the cops and to frame them. When you failed in that quest, you turn around to frame an innocent person. And now that everything has backfired, you think that you could, because many police all of our police command can, and those are the people who will continue to arrest, subjugate, and, of course, incarcerate these people, because the release of these people will fundamentally bring back the question who killed the cops, and then it will point back at them. So for these people to save their integrity and to save themselves, and, of course, course, to do everything to seal themselves, they will continue to subjugate these people until the Gambian people come out to ask for the right things. Who the fuck kills the cops? That is the question. And then those people who kill the cops are nowhere far. They are within the system, and they are operatives within the system who were actually asked by the system, and they masterminded it for the system. And the system got to pay the price for it. Nobody else. You can't jail innocent people, and you expect everybody to be silent about it. You probably could silence everybody in the country, but not all over the world, because people would speak. And when you actually put up those cameras on you to have a press conference to say anything that you were saying, you thought that it was just those journalists before you that were listening. The whole world was listening to you, and everything you were saying in there were lies, deceit, manipulation, and cover-ups. And that is clear to everybody. I drug dealer, your Hamilton, and your face police. The police, the police operation is led by drug lords. Couple of weeks ago, a police officer was beaten for uniform obey fara. You male fara. I samba boy yo hamantane. They deal with a woman who is known to be a human trafficker and a top drug dealer. And of course, Pate Jallo and other people are trying to conceal that case, and they are trying to make sure that everything actually is let to go. We know what is happening within the police force. These motherfucking criminals got to be kicked out of the police force. You know what I'm talking about? For wala mani ma for fanang min diate bola fala. Yon ragalum lende. Albe jikiri minna molle jikita wala katambalti. Abla sanya ni mo ko tangola tol be these motherfucking drug dealers are the people who are running our country. These are the people who are actually throwing the shots in this country. These are the same people who are killing, masterminding, killing of people, their own people who are actually working under them. Pate Jallo amuton ben business to be at Sukuta traffic light. You know why you people took him there? IGP Ablai Sanyang knows why he actually asked those people to be stationed there, and then pretentiously acted as if he traveled to Dubai so that it could happen in his absence, and turn around and make it look like he did not know, and push everything on DIG, so who was a novice and has no clue about what was happening, went on to spew all kind of nonsenses, and then everything backfired. And now you people think that you can continue to detain and of course subjugate Usain Bojang and his family, because Ablai Sanyang continued to be the Minister of Interior, and of course you bring in a presidential in-law as IGP, that you can continue to arrest, detain, and of course subjugate people illegally, and then you think, okay, wala diatan tol ya sembo batol labul sembo balbul labide bara sembeta kere mi warra masata lala semboti. You people never thought that a day like this would come, because we have long been waiting for it, because we knew someday, somehow, justice will prevail. We know someday, somehow, you don't just kill innocent people and allow just, it to go out right there. You bunch of bandits and criminals who are actually within the police force think that you could do anything and everything to people and nobody's gonna, be held accountable. You will be held accountable one after the other, and we know you. We will call you by name. I Yorosedi, I Ibuso, I Pate Jallo. You know what? We know every person, I Palu, Jawara. All the acts that you people are doing within the police are well known to the public. The regime will conceal you because it's a regime of mafias, criminals, bandits, and drug lords. Why best do na nyo? Ana man ganyan dunyati. Al nalmari babola nyotole. So the delay in the release of Usain Bojang was a perfected script that was from the presidential tour to the police headquarters to the prison director, and of course the basic prison operatives who were communicating constantly to actually say, bring your vehicle all the way to the gate. As soon as we release this person, there was that constant chain of command and communication to rearrest this person. So it is a perfected script by the entire system, the government machinery from the presidency all the way down, to inflict pain on these people. And I don't you people believe in the rule of law? Which rule of law do you believe in? You got to be seen to be actually, practicing what you keep talking about. This is a cruel government built on lies, deceit, and manipulation. This is a government of bandits. Why kutongana ne dusuma mboka dusuma wakir. Based on you. When that moment comes, you yourself will know that it is our collective responsibility to stand to defend the truth. And you are not defending the truth for the next person. You are defending it for yourself, because you can become the potential victim tomorrow. And then you would expect truth and justice to prevail. Where it fails to prevail, and then you actually, normalize injustice, incarcerating people on false allegations, and of course, false accusations and stuff like that, it could be your day someday. And that is what we normalized with the former regime, that it went to a point that nobody could actually stop anything that was happening. We're now fearing nobody. And then, call all in the camp. But simple ne group fingumba police. Teba police kaka bukuna fingba police. Because bukuli jeji bukumbi sang ben natandum, because bukul bukata koi bakai pro di ko banata tibukula. Na undo boy uchintu ngaja pata jalo tebanya UDP chiri puja pata jalo undoka lukanu batepe nata nundo ngorulu boy police baka kaki e fimbukulu, they went and did all their lies manipulations abatupu kota kuba ujaka binda ninda mobing ka to ko na roli roti ya konki ya rolo baka ki ja tamplo plan bikingi utambukula wija wichoko pusiemping banyambi kimme bukungo bufimba yitine nakaka ndiye par pusiempi yemfingo no pat. I don't nika put it and then you expect that you'll actually go to bed. Don't go kinjako kate chui barare kak. Because a bukunya ane mene ko kadi ko na rolu in the tapandi fingul. At the end of the day, you expect that things are gonna go out that way. And then when people start talking that same radio was used to spew that nonsense. I'm getting too many calls, man. Buchibanya making maybe guchimanyaku chirirugu wala nan chiri bungande tibuka ja lepa monya watarama nyama kanang pifa buko fambuko lumungande chumba nyami kimebiki ngaraju buko ka yusira ngumpa tu par pofinga opati biki mebiki buroti nyanko. One thing about me is I don't care about what you think about me. All I care about is what I got to do and what I'm responsible for. And what I'm responsible for, I take full responsibility for that. And in this world, nobody dies twice, and nobody cares about what another person thinks. Because now kunduta manta fankum na benyin dunia. Moni mo bukata ila kaburo kodo. Ano moni mo bara bukata de fangota ini wala kata. Martonya wala besa batila jandi. Allah mansa kunda wulta tonya tano lan woto nya tano wata bara la jang. Wata burfudun kola ato lebe wulla le tonya fasa. Gambian kola ato lebe wulla le tonya fasa. There is no more than 10,000 police officers in this country. And not a group of people, 5-10 people to subjugate this entire country. And of course, make sure they normalize injustice, cruelty, and banditry. What a keno la jang? Yembanko be tamala tilongon entonyala kansini wala sina. And it's no longer about allowing justice to prevail, because we know this used to be their propaganda tool. No, the matter is before the court. I'm not a subject of the court. Why would I have to shut up on a matter that your people within the police force continue to lie about? And we expect everybody to shut up so that their lies could continue to proliferate in society and, of course, pollute the minds of the people. When we debunked every lie that you actually told in this country, now you actually turn around to do some injustice. The court has actually proven the young people, innocent. And now you want to use force. You can't use force on these people. No. Power belongs to the people, and it's the people that must tell the government that enough is enough. After 2 years, 6 months, and, of course, 18 days is enough. That is enough injustice meted on the people that did you no wrong. Probably just gotta put this phone down again, because the whole night I couldn't sleep. Y'all be ringing my phone at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 2 a.m. Y'all gotta know time difference, man. And you gotta text people before you start ringing their phone constantly, man. Anyway, that's just a rant from me. But, the rearrest of Hussein doesn't bother me. I was expecting it since yesterday. I was clearly informed about it. And the coordination efforts that were being done by the government was well clear to me, was right on my table. So but that's why I decided to be quiet, because what would I say? Because I know this is just going to be another continuation. Because we know we will wake up today, and of course we will have something to say, and we will continue this conversation probably for the next 6-7 months or more. Because nalman bata antol natol lomo. Tilingon intonya albi wala tamandila jam batara unyanta danale. Adamala masakunda kurungolati, they are as corrupt as anything that you cannot imagine. They are as evil as anything that you can't imagine, and they are as wicked as anything you can't imagine, including its apparatus, its operatives, and even its servants. Ibebe wala nyama. Imam Fatah Hanifena, they are pretentious crop of people, hell-bent on subjugating Gambians and pretending outside as if, oh no, we are democratic. Democratic where? This is democracy? Oh, I am muted? I wouldn't know, man. But anyway, I'm out of here, man. Thank you.